Okay. Hello. Let's try to make this happen. Oh boy. Okay, go live. All right. Okay. um, Let me do this. All right. All right. So, almost an hour later, hello. I am Deanne Battle, and this is the Composite. We are in season 5, episode 6. Um, so a little bit of a tech rant here before I actually get into my actual content. So here's the thing. I'm not a techie person. I am very analog. And I apparently, the older I get, the less patience that I have for it. And here's something that, well, here are a few things I've noticed. So, um, sometimes people are like, oh, why do you get so like annoyed when you have to download a new app? Because once it is on this device, I can't find it. Um, Part of the reason is like apps and stuff. There are very few apps that I use a lot, like on a regular basis. So then I have to try to remember, what does the app look like? And increasingly in the past 18 months, the app does not look the way that you remember it because they do updates like every 3 weeks and they change their branding like every 3 weeks to 3 months. So half the apps on my phone, or I would say 75% of the apps on my phone, are useless because number one, I'm just not going to, use it that often. But number two, because using, even when I want to use it, when I'm trying to find it, I can't find it. Okay. So that's on one side. Now, how it relates to this evening. So, went to log on to Instagram to go live. I've done it on this device, on this laptop, as recently as 3 weeks ago. Today, I go to log in on that same storied app, Instagram, and it's like, oh, okay, well, you can't go live unless you have a stream key. So I'm like, fuck. So that means I've got to start dealing, excuse me, with other apps and software. Okay. So if I'm dealing with other apps and software, that increases the likelihood that I'm not going to know what the hell is going on. I log into YouTube and say, surely you jest. Surely there must be a way to get Instagram to work on my computer as opposed to my phone. I needed to be on the computer tonight so I could use the microphone. I've got a steam heat in the back, and I just wanted to make sure that the audio at least was clear. So then I log into YouTube. YouTube tells me the same thing. You need a key, a stream key to do a live stream on YouTube. So now I have 2 social media platforms that I have access to, yet no live stream. So where am I going with this? Now, hold on a second, because I don't even know if people can hear me on Instagram, to be honest. Okay. Well, the mic is on. We're just going to give it all we got. Okay. So hopefully this has some audio going. Okay. So back to the story. So 2 social media platforms that I have used as recently as 3 weeks ago. That was the last time I did an episode. And both are asking me for a stream key, when previously they did not ask me for a stream key to go live. You had an option for a stream key, but it did not force you to use a stream key. So now I'm like, okay, I've been on StreamYard maybe once or twice. I barely know how this works, but I figured it out, hence the broadcast now, hence broadcasting an hour late. But how is this relevant to our technological overlords? I see what you're doing. So now I have to, if I'm on your computer, on my computer, excuse me, I have to use the stream key. So this is going to, folks, turn into a way, I think, to make content creators and influencers cough up cash. This feels like a shakedown, because it went from no stream key to now you need a stream key. The next thing they're going to do is charge you for the stream key. Okay, that's what's coming. That's what this is always about. That's what it always boils down to. How can they make more money? Or, well, no, not or, and because a lot of people, have podcasts now, a lot of people are streaming, to thin the herd to just the select few that are going to be able to pay these fees. So, and I'm thinking out loud here. I'm just wondering, how long am I going to be able to continue this show? Because I have no funds to pay for subscriptions anymore. Netflix went up. Hulu went up. Everything's going up. Netflix and Hulu are about to get canceled. I need the money. So if I don't have money for that, for basic entertainment outside of reading, if I don't have money for that, then I definitely don't have money for your fucking stream keys. It's like, why with the constant upgrades for everything? My computer every few days, update, upgrade. The apps. Oh, can't open the app right now. It's updating on my phone. The social media platforms, they're constantly moving where the different buttons are, where the different functions are, and you have to hunt and find it. And then this semester as a teacher, just seeing that how much the students, even though a majority of them, if not all of them, have phones, seeing how they struggle, with the various, technological elements that we have to engage in for class. This is purposeful confusion for no reason other than self-aggrandizement and profit. That's all it is. I'm so sick of it all. But we're here. And I'm Deanne Battle again, and this is The Composite, Season 5, Episode 6. So anyone who's been, at least partially following this journey up No bras. Tetas are covered. Okay. So anyone who's been, witnessing or following this journey that I've been on, you're aware that our last episode was an interview with the writer Zach Kopp, and went really well. I went last year from having no interviews to now having two interviews under my belt. So I think it was a great experience for me. I've had a wonderful time talking to these writers, and it's been great for the show. So I'm really privileged to have that happen and very grateful for it. It's just that at this point, excuse me, in the semester, these days are flying by. But just working so closely with students, I've just been exhausted, and haven't really felt I've had the gumption or the oomph to give the broadcast. And it's important to me to be present, to be welcoming in this space. And so I haven't done an episode, but I was thinking about, I spoke a couple of episodes ago about wanting to meditate or needing to meditate more to clear my head. And that, wanting to do a guided meditation, excuse me, in this space. Jesus Christ. Um, And so tonight's the night, folks. My students have conferences for the rest of the week. This computer is cracked and broken. I got to run to Best Buy and hope that they're going to fix it for free. No, for nearly free. I need your thoughts and prayers. I really do. Because I don't know what I'm going to do. And again, our technological overlords. This is a PC. Now, was I happy with it when I purchased it? No. But I was like, this is good enough. I'm desperate to finish this novel. I'm desperate to finish this script. It's been almost 2 years since I've had a separate device to write on. Why? Because I was like, oh, I will save up and I will have Macintosh money. No, there is no Macintosh money to be had. So we have the Metro PCS of computers here. And this thing is like, the brand is Samsung. Oh gosh, I don't know if can Instagram or whoever like ding your page if you talk shit about brands. I don't know. Here's the thing. Is the Samsung functional? I've got a Galaxy Book 4. Um, yeah, it's functional, okay. But the speakers are trash. The keyboard is trash. It is. I'm typing like this. Like the keyboard's not good. I've got a Bluetooth keyboard, which I found in storage in my storage facility that I need to set up. So that I think if they can actually salvage what's happened to this machine, if they can salvage it, I think that we might be in good shape. But anywho, so this computer's cracked. Now, why is it cracked? Because when you go to sit it upright, to sit it up straight, oftentimes it has a gangster lean and it goes back like that. Okay. And so basically it gangster leaned off the end of the table and it fell and cracked, I think, the chassis, like that bendy part between the keyboard and the screen. That shit is cracked. This is the very first time I've dropped this thing. I haven't even had this device a full, let's see, I haven't had it a full 3 months. If they don't fix this thing, oh my gosh, I am going to go on a rampage of epic proportions. And I'm also going to kick myself because that means that I really should have saved up for a Mac because this PC life is not hitting. Um, so there's that. Okay. Now, what other? brain dump do I have here? Yes, so complaining about tech, that's a huge part of it. It makes my life as an English teacher barely bearable. I don't know. And then it makes my personal life like all the time I spend trying to find apps, trying to find passwords, trying to be in an app which has moved where you enter the password. Oh, yes, an extravaganza. But I'm still committed. I'm still here. And then the last unhinged piece of it is you'll see behind me. Those are candy hearts. I wanted to have a virtual background, but the free options in StreamYard leave much to be desired. So I was like, well, what pictures do I actually have on this PC that I've had less than 3 months? Oh, just the JPEG check ins that I do when I teach online class. So this was the check in that I did on Friday, on Valentine's Day. Which candy heart are you? And I think it's apt that this is the one that's right freaking behind me. Because yeah, totally feeling like, so much happening. Okay. Now, I initially wanted to go live at 9 o'clock. And then I went, hark, there is a State of the Union address at the same time. So I will broadcast broadcast later. So that's why I'm on so ridiculously late. But again, weeks are flying by here, and I'm not producing as many episodes as I would like. And this is important to me. So you get to witness. Don't you feel special? You get to witness how I'm trying to make this life work here and fail miserably. So we are here despite tech issues. And now, with that long preamble, let's get started. Okay. So, post check in, what do we need to know about the composite? The author of this book, he's going to be talking to us on Saturday. I'm going to start advertising for that in the morning. I will probably put the ad together while I'm on the bus headed to work because that's how we're living during conference week. So Amit Shah, and this is Revisiting the Minds. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking to Amit about, this lovely, lovely text. And it is hybrid. There are essays, there are pictures and everything. We'll get into detail on that. And he's also going to be reading from his work, so you get to hear his work in his own words. Exciting. I'm just, glad that other, artists and oops, hold on. I don't want this computer to die. That would just be, I don't know what you would say. Turds on top of turds. Yeah, I don't know. But it would be totally plausible if this computer died during the broadcast that it took me over an hour to start broadcasting. So let's see if I can move faster here. But yes, on March 8th, and I will, like I said, make some posts about it so people know it's coming up. And it'll be at a decent time. I believe I have to check my email thread with him, but we said 5 p.m. So that is exciting as an enterprise. All right. Yay, we're plugged in now. Okay. So even if the computer is trashy, we'll still be logged on. Oh no. Okay, the stream is slowed down here. Let me see if I can change the settings. They make this impossible. They really do. Okay, well, there's not too much I can do about that part. If worst comes to worst, worst case scenario, I'll rewatch this later and see what I can salvage. Um, but other things here. Um, okay. I really hope there is sound on the Instagram end, because when I had the sound on before, there's like a 5 or 6 second delay, and so, or even more, but I was hearing myself while I was talking here, and that's worse than nails on a chalkboard for me. I don't like hearing the sound of my own voice. I don't know how that's possible given how much I talk, but it actually is. Hmm. Okay, I'm not seeing anything on this end, so I don't know if this is doing anything. All right, so we're just going to film the episode, see what happens, okay? And I just want to emphasize I did not want to use a streaming software. I did not want to use StreamYard this evening. I was forced to use StreamYard because I wanted to use my computer so I could use my microphone. It's hard out here for a pimp. It really is. Okay. Now, other things other than the interview. What else is going on? Evil technology and upcoming interview on Saturday. Yes, poetry and meditation. All right. So, I'm going to read a couple of poems. If you've watched any of our previous episodes, I think sometime during end of season one, beginning of season two, somewhere in there. I started to add poetry here in this space. This is a side quest here as a talk show host, but I'm a writer and lover of literature, and the news cycle. Let's rephrase that. The life cycle is so incredibly heavy in the last, I guess you could say, 5 years. I think it's been longer than that. I would say probably closer to a decade. Um, yeah, stuff has been dire for a very, very long time. But um, I felt as if using this space to constantly respond to current events, and not talk about art and not create art was a missed opportunity. And then also just contributing to a, the general zeitgeist of anxiety and doom scrolling and complaining and lack of gratitude and so on and so forth. So, um, I do believe that social media can be transformative in positive ways. So I have to actually try to contribute to that if I want to see it. And so poetry is a way to do that. Now, how do we do this? And, apologies for anyone that's ever watched a previous episode, but I just want to make sure I'm clear. So I go to the American Academy of Poets, I go to poetry.org, and I just see what the heck the poem of the day is. And we read it, we respond to it, we receive it gratefully, because art and stories and words are literally like one of the only reasons to keep going at this point. Very few spaces for beauty right now. And I'm not talking about aesthetic beauty, I mean more spiritually, things that feed you in that way. Very few and far between. So, with that being said, let's see what the poems of the day are before the day is over. Wow, it is almost midnight. This was just supposed to be a half-hour episode, y'all. Wow. Okay. So, sorry, the poetryfoundation.org. I think I just said poetry.org. And this is one of my favorite poets. I actually had an opportunity to meet her, and she's so funny and effervescent and all of that great stuff. Patricia Smith. Okay, so this poem is called Hip Hop Gozle, uh, and I realize I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Um, I can define it for you, but I've actually rarely heard anybody say that word out loud. Hip Hop Gozle. Gotta love us brown girls, munching on fat, swinging blue hips, decked out in shells and splashes. Lordy, bringing them woo hips. As the jukebox teases, watch my sister's throat the heartbreak, inhaling baseline, cracking backbone and singing through hips. Like something boneless, we glide silent, seeping tween floorboards, wrapping around the hymns and ooh-wee clinging like glue hips. Engines grinding, rotating, smoking. Gotta pull back some. Natural minds are lost at the mere sight of ringing true hips. Gotta love us girls just strutting down Manhattan streets, killing the menfolk with a dose of that stinging view. Hips. Crying about getting old. Patricia, you need to get up off what God gave you. Say a prayer and start slinging. Cue hips. Oh, yay. Oh, that made me happy. What I like about this poem is the repetition of hips and the way that gives a steadiness to the couplets. So you can't see the poem, folks, but it's a series of couplets, through the poem, and so probably most likely adhering to the formal structure of the ghazal, and she's an amazing. I would really have to think hard to think of someone who. Ooh, okay. I just realized my face was not in the screen. I would have to think hard to think to. So tired. To think of a writer who is better at reading their work than Patricia Smith. It has a life of its own. And hearing her read, if you have the opportunity to do it, is a lovely, amazing thing. So I highly, highly, highly recommend it. So that was Hip Hop Guzzle. All right. Now, our next poem here is this is on poets.org, which is the American Academy of Poets. Yes, I got those confused. I'm exhausted. Okay. Say that so often. I'm looking forward to the day when I get on here and I say, bitch, I have all of the energy. I am hoarding energy. People are begging to borrow my energy, to rent, to Airbnb this energy. I just am waiting for those moments of renewal. Hasn't happened yet, but stay tuned. Okay. This next poem, is by Susan Browne, and it's called Becoming a Poet. Okay. I have several students that are sick. I don't know what they have. I'm hoping that's not what this is. Anywho, Susan Browne, Becoming a Poet. I was 5, lying face down on my bed, when someone stabbed me in the back, all the way to my heart. I screamed and my parents came running. My father carried me into the living room. We sat in the chair with the high sides like wings. I kneeled on his lap, my arms around his neck. My mother sat across from us, saying, "Honey, it was just a bad dream." I looked over at my father's shoulder, at the dark ocean of air, at the colorful, iridescent fish. I tried to explain what I saw. It's your imagination, said my father. The fish swam like brilliant magicians toward the window. Then they were gone. My parents didn't know death like I did, or the fish, their strange beauty, my secret. Wow. Oh, that was an unexpected ending, right? Because it sounds a little to me like the undercurrent of this Susan Brown poem is defiance and rebellion. Um, right, where she says the father's like basically, oh, you had a bad dream, it's your imagination. And she says, my parents didn't know death like I did. Like, oh, this was real. You don't know what it is that I saw. You don't know what I experienced. So I'm going to keep it to myself for a secret, as opposed to gaslighting herself in terms of, don't misunderstand me. When you're 5 years old and your parents are comforting you when you've had a nightmare, it's not that her parents in that moment were incorrect, but his response, it's your imagination. It sounds like for her that cut off possibilities. And for her, poetry again is rebellion, but also possibilities. What are the possibilities of that magical fish that she saw, and the ability to write about it? So those were two good poems. All right. Um, that was rude. My apologies, and let me be continually rude and have some water. So now I will most likely have a current event update soon, even though I'm not doing, current events this evening, because I'm hearing about the student loan repayment programs or lack thereof. And my shit was on deferral for the longest because I'm poor. Um, and now apparently that's not going to be an option. Potentially, the public service loan forgiveness, which I've tried to apply for several times and nothing's happened over the course of years. And now it might be gone. It's just like, I don't know what you think is going to happen. I don't know what you think I'm going to do. I have X amount of money, and you charging me extra money that I don't have is not going to make it magically appear. Teaching is not lucrative. You need somebody to do it, but it's not lucrative. So you're either going to make it lucrative, or you're going to restart the income driven repayment programs on people's loans, or you're going to restart the public service forgiveness. Because other than that, this default is going to be a mother for you. And I'm not talking about just me personally. Excuse me. There's there's no money to be had. There's no money. There's no money. You want to raise my taxes and cut other people's taxes, take away any opportunities that I have to manage this debt that I incurred in good faith, because that's how I was, socialized to elevate my status in life. Educate yourself. Okay, I'm pretty smart. I'll make that happen. No, apparently I'm not pretty smart because I'm still poor. And there are plenty of other people that I guess are not smart either because they're poor too. You're not getting our money. So yes, all of that being said, we have the interview episode Saturday, but I might just get on here and on Friday and just let her rip. Maybe that's what we should do. Like we could have, an episode, a beverage episode, and just talk about life and current events and philosophy. or philosophy of how to survive life. But anywho, yes, we might have a public service event, public service announcement, excuse me, or current event. I meant to say current event episode, and I said public service announcement. Perhaps there are elements of that that are Freudian. Okay. But with that being said, meditation. All right. So let's end with a meditation. And this is going to be a midnight meditation, not midnight mass, a midnight meditation, because that's how we're living. Um, Now, as a teacher, I've had the opportunity, which I've enjoyed actually, to learn about social and emotional learning. Um, and I use that in my teaching practice in small but consistent ways. So, if you haven't heard of social emotional learning, my understanding of it is how can you as a teacher find ways to manage and support the whole student? Um, and so a student is not just a person who's, earning scores and feedback in your classroom. A student is also someone that has, a family or has extracurriculars or has, all of these emotions and this turmoil going on within them. And so what does it mean if you take, uh, 3 to 5 minutes out of a class period and say, hey, on a scale of candy hearts, how are you feeling? I think my students, hold on a second. Let me see if I can pull up the picture. That might be a little too technologically advanced for me, but we're going to give it a whirl here. Da 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 da. Okay. Yes, here we go. Candy hearts. So just a second, I'm just opening the picture. If it cooperates. Or it might not because I have so much stuff plugged in. Okay. Yep, here we go. Excellent. Okay, it's sluggish, but it's open. Okay. Now, present. Let's do that. Slides in PDF. Image file. Okay, cool. So I wanted to talk to you about SEL a little bit before we get into the meditation. There's a method to the madness here. Okay. So now shout out to the person, the teacher that put this together on teacherspayteachers.com. Teachers Pay Teachers is a really wonderful site. Now, I have purchased small things like if there's like an activity guide and it costs $3, then in my early teaching career, I think I purchased one, I want to say 3 or 4 times. So I have spent some money there. But here's the thing, a lot of shit on there is free. And that's mainly what I reference, the free stuff. Especially when you're teaching at a private school, people don't really like to share the shit that they do with students like in a detailed way. And so what I would find myself doing is I would spend hours on teachers pay teachers to try to and like reverse engineer the activities and the assignments that I saw. So I would create my own version, but I'd have to try to like read it and go through it. Like, how did they figure this out? And so, whoever created this Candy Heart scale on Teachers Pay Teachers, thank you. And if they somehow find this broadcast, I'm happy to link to your document. I am not representing this as my own. So I just wanted to make that clear, because teachers, and I've had it happen to me, folks, people will steal your curriculum that you've spent hours trying to make and then pass it off as their own. It's so dirty. But so on a scale of candy hearts, and then you see the different hearts there. And so what I found is like, okay, when you do check-ins with students, they kind of cluster. So my students, like a lot of them were clustering around numbers and 3 and 5. So what that told me is like, oh, you know, folks are, yeah, okay, so 2, 3, and 5. So there was a combination of, kind of happy that it was Friday. It was because it was on a Friday. But also, excuse me, they felt tired and swamped, which I totally relate to. And so the social emotional learning part of it, um, I find that investing, you know, 5 to 10 minutes a week is helpful, because then I have a better sense of where my students are at. And then I know, oh, okay, do they have a bandwidth to do an in-class essay? Or no, just kidding. So we're going to do independent reading and annotation and then a large group discussion. So it helps a lot to really be in touch with learners as a full person, but then also in touch with yourself as a full person. And so that was a really long preamble. And let me go ahead and remove that. But that was a long preamble for this meditation, because this meditation that we're going to embark upon is something that I also found in teaching resources. So, you know, good pedagogy, I realized over the course of the years of doing this, um, also translates into good life skills or good life management, hopefully. Um, so let's see what happens with this meditation. Okay, and this one I'll definitely, try to link to. So if you want to go back and look at it, that you have access. Um, okay, here, meditation. So, and the document is called 8 Guided Mindful Meditations. Pack. 8 Guided Mindfulness Meditations Pack. I forgot it was a pack. And the one that, when I was reading through this, really appealed to me was dropping the suitcases of worries and regrets. Okay, so we're gonna go through that, and see how it goes. This is experimental. Even 2 years in doing this show, almost 2 years in, it's still experimental. But it sometimes you just have to try stuff and see what sticks. And so something that I have not really given enough of a shot is mindfulness and meditation as a way to manage emotional stressors for myself and for others. Um, and I think there's still a part of me that resists that, because it feels just ridiculous. I'm just going to sit here and breathe and try not to think about things. Where's the catch? That's how I'm kind of feeling underneath. But I'm not sure if suspicion is Mm. Yeah, I'm coming down with something. Yeah. Hmm. There we go. So it's hard to figure out if the suspicion is a character trait or trauma response. I don't know. Um, Anywho, this is the script for dropping the suitcases of worries and regrets. So, I'm a shitty meditator. I don't do it consistently. I don't have a consistent place to do it, and I don't have a consistent methodology. So, all of those things contribute to the pile of dung. But within that pile of dung, I can give you some advice. So, here's the thing: when I meditate, one of the most important things for me is that there's a consistent temperature. Like if I'm too hot or too cold, I'm not going to be able to make it happen. So there's that. So a consistent temperature, actually dim lights, but not dark. So with that being said, I'm going to hit this overhead. Just a sec. Okay. See, that's already better. Okay. I like to create an environment that's comfortable, but where I'm not going to straight up just go to sleep. Because, you're not being mindful if your mind is off. All right. So hopefully you are sitting somewhere where you feel comfortable. You've got the lighting and the temperature that you need. So, this is a powerful visualization for releasing, some of the weight we carry. All right. And so this is, even though this isn't something, a resource that I found for students, it said this particular meditation is one that's geared toward adults. So you can feel, it's not the YA of meditations. And I know YA people don't like when I say that, but and YA is legitimate literature, but I'm grown. Okay. So this is not a YA meditation. This is a grown folks meditation. Oh God, I shouldn't have said that. Because the people who are into YA literature are serious about their shit, y'all. Very serious about their series and everything, about the character development. I was just like, damn, if I knew how to write YA, I would be on fire right now, but I don't. So there's that. Stay tuned. Now, dropping the suitcases of worries and regrets. So, to help you reduce anxiety, start by taking a moment to relax your body. Soften any unnecessary tension in your belly and shoulder, and find a posture that feels both relaxed and alert. Now, close your eyes and look downward and rest your hands in an easy, effortless way. Take a few moments to scan your awareness through the sensations of your body, and wherever possible, soften and release obvious areas of physical tension. So I will interject here. Where do I carry tension? In my jaw. Not as much as I used to. I used to have like a lock jaw and I used to have to sleep with one of those mouth guards. But in my jaw, in my neck, and in my lower back toward the hips on either side. So those are three big points for me, not my knees or my feet or anything like that. Those pressure points. So really focusing on those areas for yourself. Aware of your body, your breathing, your chest rising and falling with each breath. And now imagine standing in the street outside of your house with two heavy suitcases and know that one of those suitcases is full of worries about the future, and the other suitcase know that it is full of regrets about the past. Take a moment standing there in the street, holding these two heavy suitcases, and reflect about each one. Reflect about the future, how it will come on its own accord and whenever it comes, and that most of what we worry about will never happen. Standing out there in the street, reflect about the past, the other heavy suitcase. Oh, okay, I read that wrong. The cadence is wrong. Standing out there in the street, reflect about the past, the other heavy suitcase. Consider how the past cannot be changed. Oh, I'm triggered by that sentence. I'm like really triggered by that sentence. Hmm. I guess I'm mostly just guiding myself through this meditation because I'm having a moment right now. Consider how the past cannot be changed. All we can do in the present is to learn from it, put in whatever corrections make sense, become more skillful, become a better person and move on. Standing there in the street, feeling the weight of these suitcases and absorbing the wisdom of your own reflections right now, make a conscious decision. So now here's the thing. You're not going to be able to meditate with me talking over your shit. Sorry. Sorry. But like I said, I will link to this. I'm sorry. Okay. So one suitcase is full of worry about the future. One suitcase is full of regret about the past. So, but in my mind, I immediately go to, if I'm imagining myself standing there on the corner waiting for an Uber, because ain't no way I'm carrying these suitcases anymore. Um, which one is heavier? One is you know, regrets about the past, and one is anxiety about the future. See, because in my mind, the suitcase contemplating the past is heavier. Hold on a second. I'm gonna have some tea after this. Yeah, this isn't good because I have to make it through conference week. Have to. Um, so in my mind, the suitcase with the regrets about the past is heavier. But here's the thing: when you are carrying things, if the things are both light, you're fine. If the things are both heavy, you're not fine, but you're at least balanced. But now in my mind, I see myself, I'm standing there on a busy street. I've got a suitcase of anxiety and a suitcase of regret. And I'm kind of like tipped over like this computer that fell and cracked an hour and a half before I tried to go live. Um, I'm leaning over because the suitcase with the anxiety about the future is like if you went to the grocery store and they gave you one of those paper bags, right? Those paper bags can only get but so heavy because they'll fall apart. So that's how I feel about that particular suitcase. It's heavy for the size that it is, but it's not like truly heavy. But now that suitcase with the regret, oh man, that's a trunk. That is a cedar chest. That is not a freaking suitcase. And it's hard to stay in the meditative state because in my mind, all I see is myself going like this. Like it's hard to meditate like that. First world problems. Okay. Let's get back to it. So I'm going to back up a step here. Standing there in the street, feeling the weight of these suitcases and absorbing the wisdom of your own reflections right now, make a conscious decision. Do you want to drop the suitcase of worry about the future? And if so, simply drop it. Drop it. Then, standing there in the street with the other suitcase so heavy about the past, make a conscious decision. Do you want to drop it? And if so, just drop it. Drop it. And as soon as you have dropped the two suitcases, walk into your home and take your seat right where you are and plop down so relaxed, like someone coming home from a long trip, dropping suitcases and just relaxing. Rested in the present, just breathing, resting in the natural well being of the parasympathetic nervous system, resting in the fundamental well being of awareness itself, awareness which does not worry or regret, resting as if this is meaningful for you. Allow yourself to simply rest, feeling a sense of peace, of joy, of well being, a natural happiness, always your true home, without carrying heavy suitcases of worries about the future or full of regrets about the past. Simply rest herein, your body right now with total relaxation. I would totally rewrite this last sentence. Sorry, I'm seeing something that needs to be revised. Repetition, redundancy. Okay, so this last sentence, simply rest herein, your body right now, with total relaxation throughout your body and mind. Okay, so minus the shade toward the wording, this is a cool one. Let's summarize, shall we? So here's what you're going to do. You're going to look at the link that I share to this attached to this video. And then you're going to scroll the document through the document, and you're going to come to the meditation that says dropping the suitcases of worries and regrets. And then you're going to read through it. And then you are going to find a nice place where you're comfortably seated and there is comfortable lighting and the room is a comfortable temperature for you, not too hot or too cold. Maybe have a little glass of water in case you get thirsty, okay? And maybe a tissue if your nose runs like mine. So those are the supplies you're going to have around you so you don't need to move. Then here's what you're going to do. You're going to close your eyes and you're going to scan your body and you're going to say to yourself, where do I hold tension? So for me, like I said, it's my jaw, the back of my neck and shoulders, and then the hip area gets very, very tight and unusable. I just realized that could be taken the wrong way. It's unusable that way too, but that's not how I meant it. But anyway, so you're gonna scan your body, and I would say if your whole body hurts, don't focus on your whole body. Just try to find two or three spots. Just triage. Triage. That's what we're doing here. You find two or three spots where that are specifically or particularly tense for you. Okay. Now, something that I would add here is I would, it says be aware of your body and your breathing, but I would try to like breathe into those places where you're feeling particularly tense. So like for me, it would be like really trying to imagine almost that I can breathe space into those muscles and into those nerves so you can open up some of that tension. I would add that to the meditation. So that's not going to be on the sheet. Now, you've found your spot, you've closed your eyes, you've scanned your body, you've breathed into the places where you have tension. Now you want to picture yourself, imagine yourself with these two massive heavy suitcases. Now, for me, the right hand has the suitcase with the worries about the future, and the left hand has the suitcase with the regrets about the past. Because as I mentioned, the regrets about the past, that suitcase is going to be way heavier for me. And I'm left-handed. So I just have to lead with the power hand here. Okay, and hope that I can hold on to these suitcases until it's time to let go. So now you have the suitcases. I would go even a step further. Like, what type of shit is in there, you know? I remember the very first big trip that I did overseas. I went to Western Europe, and I was there for like 6 weeks. And my friend was getting her PhD. She let me stay with her. And it was a cool trip, but I didn't know how to travel. And I had massive, large suitcases. And I didn't even wear half of that stuff. I've never traveled that heavy ever again. Ever. Like, even when I went to Central Europe and I spent 6 weeks there, I went to more events, more countries, just more places in general within the countries, and I still did not bring as much stuff as I brought with me to England. It was like I was moving to another country, but I didn't know. I'm like, I don't know what you need, and I know it rains a lot in England. I guess I'm gonna bring some stuff. So I've learned a lot since then. But those suitcases were heavy, heavy. So really think about, what are you carrying with you into this next phase of life? And what do you need to leave behind? Old habits die hard. They definitely do. And so, while my left shoulder is all hitched up and out of joint because I've got that heavy regret suitcase, you've got to put it down. Because what are you going to do? Your muscles will fail, and it's going to slip out of your hands anyway. So you might as well make the decision to put down that suitcase of worries about the future, put down that suitcase of regrets about the past. I thought it was interesting that this meditation says, oh, okay, well, now you're in front of your house and you can just walk in and you can sit those suitcases down and you can relax. But where do they go? Because initially I thought you were like abandoning them somewhere. Like, man, screw this suitcase. I only paid $25 for it at Walmart. Like, these these clothes and everything that I have in it. I'm done. I'm over with it. Maybe there were bed bugs in the hostel where you stayed, and you just can't. There's nothing salvageable in that suitcase. You just got to leave it somewhere. But that's not what the meditation's saying. It's saying you bring, you make it far enough to like bring them inside. You just relax and you go somewhere different. The suitcases are kind of still off to the side. That part of the meditation I might have to change for myself, because if I'm like things and people that I really let go of, like I never fucking want to see you again, ever. Not even, like a picture, not a whiff of a smell, nothing. It's just gone as if it was never there. And I don't know if this meditation is necessarily calling for that, but it's your meditation, so do with it what you will. All right. But like I said, imagine those suitcases. Imagine sitting them down. In my mind, the power move is really not dropping them, but just actually being able to bend down and set them down and then stand back up. Because even in those moments of letting go of worry about the future or regrets of the past, it would take a level of control that I don't currently have to just, in a non emotional way, just sit it down, set it down, and then just walk. So I'm going to try this meditation again. You could argue we haven't necessarily tried it the first time because I've been talking through it. But I'm going to try this on my own, and I'll let you all know how it goes. Okay. And so this has been the Composite, season 5, episode 6. And, I suspect that, because I don't know how it's broadcasted on Instagram, but I suspect that if you do watch this at all, it's the, playback. And I'll just take this opportunity to remind you of our YouTube channel, which I'll be updating with this video and our last interview. But yeah, check us out there. If Instagram is not your thing, go to YouTube, okay? And try to keep your composure as much as possible. Try to, as I keep mentioning to my students, stay moisturized, hydrated, moisturized, and mind your business. All right? Take care.